Hello, I'm Father of Time, and this is just a quick throw together video. It's a highlight for the Dystopia mod development. More specifically, it's a forum post aid for the Minecraft Forge forums. A discussion more specifically on making tools custom tools that can break a block that no other vanilla Minecraft tools can. So also, I want to touch on a few other topics at the end of this, but I'm going to go ahead and just hop right into it to make this video as quick as possible. So, one of the things I want to state before we get into this is please, excuse all the crude graphics and bad textures. Obviously, this is all experimental code I'm working with right now, so there's no final product textures or anything like that. And there's still some issues with item renderers. Like I can get OBJ objects loaded in and the models in there, but for whatever reason, item renderers right now don't seem to be working properly. Like the same goes for if I get my germinators, they're not showing up properly either. They're showing up as their item form, but yet when I put them down, their block renderers are working properly. But anyways, that's not here nor there for what we're testing right now. So I do want to grab one more item, a blowtorch. Again, this is a placeholder item, so please excuse the graphic. But if I go out of game mode, creative now, you can see there's already one of them here. So this item, no matter what I try to break it with, will not work. So you notice I can break any other block just fine. However, if I try to break this, I can dig at it all day long and it will not break. And even in fact, if I switch over to a pickaxe, I can dig at it all day long and it still won't break either. Now that has nothing to do with its hardness, because if I just set its hardness completely to high, even with the tools that I wanted to, it wouldn't break. It would take forever. So I wanted to come up with a different method. So instead, I have this item. It's a blowtorch. Now again, the item itself is just a placeholder because we're going to use a model for it, an OBJ model, a simplified one, for the animation of the flame and stuff. But for now, I was working on things like its sound effects, its turning on, turning off, its gas lit stuff, and you can actually hear, like, there's sound effects. So if I right-click it, you can hear the gas turn on. And you might have a hard time because it seems like my Minecraft volume's really low. I'm not entirely sure why because I have it set to highest. But and if I hold it and right-click it, kick the flame on. So now it's actually in an on state. And in fact, I'm going to kick it off again real quick. You can hear it makes another sound, a poof noise. Right there. Now, if it's off, I'll just swing it like a normal item and it break item blocks normally. But if I turn it on, at that point you'll notice I don't swing it anymore, but instead it just burns the item away. Right now you have to use your imagination. It's just the animations that I've got working, but eventually there will be, like I said, 3D models with blue flames coming out of it and stuff that'll reflect that. So again, if I come over here, and do I have it on or off? So I have it on. Now I want to turn it off real quick, and if I try to dig at it, it's even set up so that if, a blowtorch, if you just clink it up against a steel block, it's not going to break the block. So you actually have to turn the sucker on, and then once it's on, that's the only way that these blocks can be broken is with a blowtorch that's been turned on. And you can actually hear when it breaks blocks that it makes a little like a torch noise. Again, the sound effects are extraordinarily low for some reason, but anyway, so that is that I've been working on. However, I did want to tag on to this video here. Oh, I just want to go back to what I was saying. So that does demonstrate that what everyone was saying in this forum post is correct, that obviously the player specific block strength is a way that this could work, and it probably is the best way if I really think about it. I was just really hoping that there'd be a way to make the tool harvesting system work. And then before I go into my next statement, I also wanted to address the next two posts that came after. I just read them today, but basically what you guys suggest to go ahead and set the harvest levels to higher, and to also just set it says set harvest level, block level, or strength or whatever. Yes, if you put in your own string like my tool name, it will in fact create an entry for your tool, and it does exactly what you think. So if you set, say, dirt to level 3 of your custom tool, if you try to break it with a wooden version of your tool, it won't drop the goods. So in that sense, it does work. But what the problem is that the tool harvesting has no effect on whether or not you can break the block, even if you set it so that the tool can't harvest it. And I'll give you an example. Like for instance, game mode 1, diamond blocks. Now, diamond blocks can't be harvested by anything but diamond, or I think iron or higher, but that doesn't mean it can't be broken. Let's see, let's get a wood pickaxe. You'll notice that I can still, I mean, it'll take me and I'm in creative mode, so you'll notice that I can still hack away at it over the course of 100 years. And it's doing damage to the block. Everything in Minecraft is set up this way except for a hard-coded thing in Bedrock. That's not what I wanted. All that this controls is that, or that set block harvest level, you'll notice is that once this block breaks, I won't get a diamond out of it. It'll just poof and it's gone. However, if you do that with a tool that is capable of harvesting it, is set to that harvest level, then it drops its resource. That's all that that controls, nothing else. So when we want to get behavior like this, where the block actually is strengthened and it can't be broken physically, that is why I think that get strength based on player override is really probably the only way, as everyone has suggested. And also kudos, I was really impressed to see that it was the creator of, or the maintainer of the Clay Soldiers mod. Nice to see you. That is a fantastic mod, and I've always loved it since the first days I started looking at mods, but I digress. So there is one last thing I wanted to bring up, and it's going to require a little bit of looking at the code, but it's item renderers, and I'm wondering if anybody knows what's going on with those. So I know so if I look at the code, for instance, this item right here is actually set up as an item renderer, and so is this one. And for whatever reason, they're just showing up as those like generic square blocks with the texture of the item over it, as opposed to being an item renderer like it was in my old code. And I can show that as an example. And for whatever, it's really peculiar because I've looked over my code 100 times, and you'll see that, in my base classes, I have a common proxy, which is where the item renderers are called. I know as a fact that this is being called because inside this is the only place that an instance of the Germinator renderer is instantiated. And so I put a printout statement here, and sure enough, it showed up. And no matter what, even though this is being registered in, it's never calling this render item. And I don't understand why, because if you do a call hierarchy on it, all the different calls are there as expected for when it's rendered as an item, as equipment, like in your hand, as an item in your inventory, or first person view. I think that's, I get those mixed up. But yeah, basically all the different camera perspectives. So it's really odd that even though that's being called everywhere, that this print statement's never being hit, even though, yeah, sorry, get a little carried away, but it makes it easier for me to see in the console prints. And yet that's super peculiar because I know as an absolute fact that this is being called, which if this is being called, then the only time it should be called is in here during this registration. So this registration is getting called, and all that does is just puts it inside a map with the item as the key and the item renderer is the value. The only thing I wonder is if maybe the item that it's putting in, however it does their comparisons, like, with hash and equals functions, maybe it's not designed to where, like, the item that comes in from an item stack can match this item dot get item from block functions item. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think, is that as it's going through the custom renderers, it's not finding this one as the custom item, so it's just spitting out that generic square cube. So if anybody knows anything about this, that would be extremely helpful. But other than that, yeah, really the whole point of this video was just kind of to show you guys that block strengthening stuff does work. So other than that, let's see. Helly. Oh, cool, that did work. Oh, I have to fix its name and stuff, but this is that other project I was working on too that I wanted to show, and if anybody has interest in working on these and getting them to fly with me, the animations and stuff are all, we're working on it right now with the model maker. We're working on dropping the polys, The bounding box is why it keeps doing that when I look too far out. The bounding box isn't squared around this thing properly. But yeah, basically the tail rotor and that upper one are gonna rotate, based on the engine speed. And these are going to be built modularly by the players. They'll have to build a nose cone, they'll have to build a motor and stuff. And these will be powered by ethanol, which is a whole other project of ours. You can see ethanol is going to be a finite fluid that's part of a production process, just like, if our germinator machines, um, people can grow illicit drugs and they use these things to get the seed growing process going. And I'm in the process of porting this all over from 1.6.4, so that's why we have some of these really annoying, things, because I had to redo the labels and my positioning's off, so I just have to fix that. But, there's lots of little things I'm working on. But, so yeah, this is what I was trying to say. If anybody knows an IRC that I can find some people to bounce some ideas off, that would be great. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed. So take care. Again, I'm Father Time, and this is the Dystopia mod. So have a great day.